Hello, hello, all you beautiful people, techie and non-techie alike. I'm sure by now a lot of you have heard about Photoshop's generative fill using AI. And as cool as all of this is, it comes with a price tag. A monthly one at that. Or at the very least, you can pay the price by having multiple email addresses to take advantage of free trials. But this can't possibly be the best way. Especially since the average users will probably only use it for a few hours, only when they have a photo to edit. So thankfully, there is a better solution. Stable Diffusion and ComfyUI, which offers us the ability to use InPainting and OutPainting to generate our own fill using AI. So I know it looks a little bit more complicated, but it really isn't. So let's begin. The first thing we need to do is to actually install ComfyUI. But since our goal is to do things the easier way, we'll be using Compute Grid, since they not only let us rent out our machines at low prices, but all machine instances come with Stable Diffusion XL and ComfyUI pre-installed. The way it works is quite simple. Compute Grid lets hosts who have extra GPU resources rent them out to users who need it. This means even if you don't have a good setup, you don't need to worry about having to purchase a graphics card or anything. Or let it keep you from doing things like graphics rendering, video processing, or even running complex algorithms if that's what you're into. And it's all pay as you go. So if I only use it for half an hour to edit one image using SDXL, that's just a quarter compared to you having to pay for an entire month of Photoshop. So it's kind of a no-brainer, at least to me. So all I have to do is log in and then simply select a GPU instance and then click Start Instance. From there, it only takes a few seconds to get everything set up. And once our instance setup is complete, all we have to do is go to Example Machine Learning Workflows. Now you may notice Compute Grid also includes Llama 3, which is a language learning model similar to ChatGPT. But we're here for Stable Diffusion, so we'll go to SDXL tab and simply click Launch SDXL. And now this button goes ahead and it runs all of these commands for us, which installs and runs Stable Diffusion and ComfyUI. So all we have to do is click this link, and there you go, in just mere seconds. And just like that, welcome to ComfyUI. Okay, and if you aren't familiar with the ComfyUI workflow, no worries. I already have a video tutorial that goes over it, that shows you how to do a basic text-to-image and image-to-image workflow, but still, just in case, I'll quickly go over the basics and how it all works together. To start, let's go ahead and look at our load checkpoint node, which loads for us a model, which is just trained on a variety of image sources to be able to create a new image based on that learned knowledge. Next is VAE, or Variational Autoencoder, which converts the image between pixels and latent spaces, basically converting it between how us humans usually view images on the internet and then converting it into a format hidden from us that the AI can work with. And then next is Clip. Clip is OpenAI's language model, and it pre-processes the positive and negative prompts for us. Positive is what we want to see, and negative is what we don't. The case sampler then takes us all in, our prompts, our model, and either an empty latent image or a base image that we load in, to attempt to give us the image we want. The image goes through a decoder to take the image out of latent space into pixels so we can see it. So if we go ahead and click Queue Prompt, we can see our workflow work, starting from our checkpoint, our prompts, the case sampler where it goes ahead and applies the parameters, and we get our default image. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page, let's look at how to inpaint an image. I really only need to remove and add a note or two, but I always love starting from a blank canvas, so I will go ahead and clear. Alright, so now that we're at a blank canvas, before we start arranging our nodes, we need to install the InPainting model. To do this, let's go to the Manager option on the main menu. So disclaimer, if you aren't using Compute Grid and just installed SDXL and ComfyUI to your personal computer, you may also need to install the ComfyUI Manager. This is because all versions of Compute Grid setup comes with the Manager pre-installed. And that's just another reason why I say Compute Grid is the easiest way to use ComfyUI. But anyway, once you open up to the Manager menu, you'll see we have a lot of options. But all we need to do today is to go to Install Models and look for InPainting. From here, we just select which version we want to use. I always use a smaller version personally and click Install. And it's going and installing it for us right now. And while we wait, may I just say, I love clicking buttons. I love being able to simply click a button and have everything run for me. I love pushing buttons. Okay, perfect. So now that's done loading, we can just see that we just need to click the refresh button on the main menu. But before we leave this screen, you may have noticed that under model description, we can see that we need a unit loader instead of the checkpoint loader to use this model. So now that we know that, let's go ahead and leave our menu and just click refresh. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and grab our unit loader by double clicking and then searching for it in the search. Perfect. And then as we can see, it actually already has the model input for us right away. Okay, so now that we have a model already selected for us, we still need to load in the clip and VAE. So to keep it simple, let's just go ahead and grab our load checkpoint node that we're already familiar with. And so that way we'll be using the SDXL base, clip, and VAE will always be replacing the model with this one. From here, let's go ahead and add our prompts by dragging out the clip output and selecting clip text encode. Next is going to be the heart of everything, the beautiful K-sampler. And so as we can see, we have our inputs here for model, and then 2 inputs for our prompt, one positive and one negative. The only input we have left is going to be latent image. And normally we go ahead and we use the empty latent image ode to act as a blank canvas, but today we don't want to blank canvas. Instead, we want to select a background. So we're going to go ahead and use the load image node. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're just going to go ahead and select our background, a beautiful beach sunset. And as I'm sure your eyeballs will tell you, this image is made of pixels, and so it needs to be encoded to be a proper latent image so we can use it in the K-sampler. So thankfully, we actually have a VA node just for InPainting. And so all we have to do is connect image and pixels, and then connect our VAE. Now you may notice we also have an input for mask. To add a mask to our image, we're going to go ahead and right-click and go to Open in Mask Editor. This just tells our AI where we want to fill in, where do we want it to be. And so since I want a mermaid on the beach, I'm just going to go ahead and create a square right over here and fill it in. Perfect, and save to node. From here, I'm going to connect my masks, and let's go ahead and move this latent image into the K-sampler. So the K-sampler takes in the latent image, goes ahead and applies all of these parameters, and then takes out another latent image, so that means we need a decoder to make it something that we can read, and then we'll need a preview image so we can see what it's created for us. And just like that, that is our InPainting workflow, very simple and very similar to the default one. So now let's go ahead and let's add in our prompts. So what I want to see is going to be a photo of a mermaid with a blue tail laying on a beach with her back to us. And then what I don't want to see is going to be watermarks and text. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we get when I queue prompt. Oh, I missed the VAE. That's a nice thing too, is that if you're nervous or worried about like, what if I mess it up, it'll let you know. And I'm sure if you haven't already, but colors match too, so again, it looks harder than it really is. Alright, queue prompt, and we'll see it take our model, our clip and VAE, our prompts, and then run it through the sampler. lovely. She is so beautiful, the epitome of grace. Right now I have my seed to randomize after each one, so I'm going to continue doing that until I find a seed that's close to what I want. Perfect. Let's go ahead and change this to fixed then. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust my steps a little bit so it loops through and adds a bit more detail. And then lower our CFG just a smidge. Beautiful! Would you look at that? So that's how we in-paint or generate a fill to an image. But if we can paint inside an image, why can't we paint outside one too? Well, we can, using OutPainting! I know, shocker, I totally bet you didn't see that coming. So to transform our InPaint workflow to an OutPainting one's really simple. First, let's go ahead and choose a new image, like these cute little bees on a sunflower. And then now that we have our new image, we need a way to tell the AI exactly where we want to generate our outside fill. To do that, we need a special node called Pad Image for OutPainting. And so here, we're just going to put in the pixels that how wide we want our board to go for our pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and set everything to 400 pixels, except for the top value, I'm going to have that be at 200. I'm going to go ahead and leave feathering at 40. Feathering essentially just controls the blurring of the radius or the border between your original image and then your OutPainting border. So now that we have our dimensions in, we're going to go ahead and move it in between our VAE encode and our image. From here, we're going to go ahead and take that node, connect it here, this one there, and our mask is now going to go here. Perfect. And now let's go ahead and adjust our prompt here. So what I want to see is going to be a photo of two bees on a yellow round full sunflower with a blue sky background. Now, I know right now I'm basically just describing this image because my goal is essentially make it look like it's zoomed out without painting. But OutPainting can be used to even take a cropped image of a person, so if I just had a top half portion of somebody, I can take that and then generate an OutPainting of a mermaid tail. So just because I'm using it to zoom out of an image isn't the only way to use it. Alright, so now that we have our prompt and our picture, let's go ahead and cue prompt. Oh, perfect, actually. So for less than 50 cents, I have done would have cost me a monthly fee of $23 using Compute Grid and, more importantly, Stable Diffusion and ComfyUI. So hopefully today you have learned not only how to not be a sucker, but also how to use InPainting and OutPainting using ComfyUI. Thank you, and class dismissed.